What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Roger Report. And today we are going to be going over BRICS Report number 3. Now, I understand that in the last one or two episodes I said that we were almost done with the whole catch-up game, and then we were going to go into actual current events that were happening either the day before I recorded or that day that I'm recording and go over stuff live and, more in-depth. But we're going to have to play a little bit of catch-up because, as you guys may know from the last episode, I was having to talk quietly because I was sick. And it's been about 8 days since I got sick, and I'm barely getting over it now. I still have a bit of a cough, still a little bit of congestion. I'm not sure if you guys can hear it over the mic, but I still have a little bit, and it's basically gone. But if you see me coughing a little bit or whatever, then that's why. And I couldn't record. I tried to 2 days ago, but I couldn't because my throat got so scratchy after talking for a certain amount of time that it ended up getting to the point where I actually I would start coughing and my eyes would water, and I would have to go and do all that stuff because it was so scratchy and it hurt. So now I can talk for a prolonged period of time. So we're going to be doing that today. And so much has happened in that 8 days that I wasn't able to record with BRICS that I'm like, dang, I got to type up more reports. So I have one report, which is this one, and then one more report. And then once we catch up with those two, then the next time you're going to see anything relating to BRICS, it'll be active, same day happening. We'll be finding out about it right on the precipice of when it's happening. So with that being said, we're getting into BRICS report number 3. Now, I do want to preface this by saying my goal with these reports is not to go super in-depth on every little thing, just because there's so many things. Just alone in this report, there's 13 different subjects we're going to be covering. I can't sit here within a reasonable amount of time and say, let's go super in depth, 10-minute segments on because then on each subject, because then we'll be here for over 2 hours, right? So what I want to do is, while I have a whole bulk of subjects, I want to give you the headline, I want to give you what's going on, and I want to give you the source of it, and then we're going to move on. Now, when we get to the in-depth ones where it's okay, today we only have one thing to cover, or 2 subjects, or 3 subjects at most to cover, then I'll be going further into depth and saying why this is happening, why this is the case, what I think about it. But again, we're playing catch-up, so that's why I'm trying to do this whole headline, gist of the article, source, move on type deal. So with that being said, let's get right into it. So we have BRICS report number 3, and honestly, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I already recorded this, BRICS report number 3, but the problem is it corrupted. So I already have BRICS report number 4 recorded because I wanted to go ahead and get that out of the way, 3 and 4, so that way the next thing I record is live. But unfortunately, the 4 was good, but this report video for some reason got corrupted. So I'm not sure why, so I'm re-recording. And so I don't have all of these tabs pulled up, but you could see the links here if you guys want to, look at it and, search it up yourself. So with that being said, let's get right into it. So with CBDC news, which again is central bank digital currency news, Iran is demanding a 2024 effort to ditch the US dollar and to bring in a digital currency for BRICS as a whole. So basically, there was an Iran BRICS representative quoted as saying, "In the plans of 2024, I hope that these economic and financial pillars, especially banking and financial issues, payment systems, digital currency, common currency, exchanges with national currency, etc., will speed up and become operational." So again, talking about, and again, that's according to Watcher Guru as well as some Iranian news site that has the quote pending there. But basically talking about how they want to, again, BRICS trying to establish a digital currency, trying to establish something that they can use as an alternative to the euro, the US dollar, whatever the case may be. So Iran is definitely pushing for that. The China and the UAE, again, according to Watcher Guru and according to Chinese news media, China and the UAE are making have made their first CBDC transaction worth $13 million. They conducted this through their custom interbank network, or otherwise known as the mBridge blockchain. This system links the central banks of Hong Kong, China, the UAE, and Thailand. The UAE sent more than 50 million dirhams, which is their currency, to China, and then Chinese central bank conducted a remittance payment in digital renminbi back to them, and this was a big success. Now, of course, like I said, the 50 million dirhams or whatever equaled out to about 13 million US dollars, 13.6, I think. And basically with that, again, I'm going to be going over Project mBridge in a minute, which is the mBridge network, the mBridge blockchain, the source of that. But again, BRICS currency, most likely a common, in other news, BRICS currency, most likely going to be a common CBDC, is setting up to be potentially more valuable than the US dollar. It is anticipated that it will be potentially revealed at the 2024 BRICS Nations Conference. I believe that is going to be in October, but I'm not 100% sure. Again, according to Watcher Guru and infobricks.com, or .org, my bad. Now we have Project mBridge. Now, this is what Project mBridge is in a nutshell. So this is from beincrypto.com. Now, why is it a crypto website? Because Project mBridge is a blockchain network. This is going to be very heavily related to crypto. So let me just get into this, right? So this is the quote, or the excerpt from the website. How does Project mBridge platform connect to external systems? Interoperability with participants' own systems is supported by APIs based on the global ISO 20022. Now, that's not 222, that's 200/222. But I guess 20,022, but 222 just sounds better to me. So, the global ISO 20022 messaging standard for financial information to allow participants to easily connect and integrate into ISO 222 compatible payment systems. For commercial banks, cross-border payments and FX transactions, which is foreign exchange transactions, are conducted through the interaction between their core banking systems and their mBridge backend. For central banks, CBDC issuance and redemption operations are supported by the integration of mBridge into domestic payment systems such as RTGS and CBDC through each central bank's mBridge backend. API connectivity to domestic payment systems means that a domestic CBD system is not a precondition for joining the mBridge platform if adopted by the central banks. So, what is ISO 20022? What is that? It is basically the generally accepted and common networking platform for the financial information and messaging being sent. So this is linked to crypto. So if you look at XRP, which is like Ripple, if you look at XLM, which is the retail version of XRP, Stellar Lumens, if you look at Hedera, Hashgraph, if you look at XDC, all of those cryptos, there's very few, I think there's like 5 or 6 crypto that are actually integrated and supported and support ISO 20022 networks, which is those are the utility tokens. So for example, I can give you an example, XRP. Right, that is for cross-border payments, and that is for instantaneous cross-border payments. It's, very low fees, instant within like microseconds or seconds at most. It's very, very fast, and basically that's the purpose of XRP. A lot of central banks want their hands on it, so that way they're able to have control of it, and that's why it is in a lawsuit currently right now with the SEC, because the SEC claims that they're questioning the legitimacy of XRP as a cryptocurrency, and whatever the case may be, XRP's fighting that, saying that's BS. Yes, we are a cryptocurrency. Yes, this is our utility and whatnot. There's a huge conflict going back and forth. The case has been happening for like almost 2 years, I think, at this point. But point is, that's why this is from a crypto website, is because it's a blockchain network. Going further, this is pulled directly from, and I'm actually going to pull this up for you so you guys can see this. I want to make sure that you guys have this pulled up. And now, what is that noise? That is Opera GX, because that is the best browser in history. So right here, as we can see, this is the bis.org/innovation. This is the PDF that the mBridge developers have made for what mBridge is. It's 12 pages, basically a PDF on all the legal, the governance, the financial aspects of it, what it's going to do. This is the diagram that I went ahead and screenshotted and put into the report, and then again it shows all this other stuff. So if you want to take a look at it, you definitely can. But when it comes to this is basically just showing you the central bank internal system, the ISO 20022 network, and basically how it travels through, and then domestic RTGS and CBDCs. So moving on, the US dollar bonds are falling. Now, as the debt has risen about $34 trillion, BRICS countries are finding that the U.S. bonds are far less attractive to them, causing them to see the worst start to a year since 2016, particularly in the Asian region. Regional borrowers are now raising cheaper funds, and the U.S. dollar is becoming an expensive affair to developing countries. This kind of rides off the back of something that happened earlier in one of the reports that I stated, I think in episode 1, maybe it was 2, about how about how the U.S. dollar in the short term is now more expensive than the Chinese yuan, and how the Chinese yuan for lending and taking out money and loans is actually cheaper and a better option for foreign people in the Asian market. And then, of course, that's according to Watcher Guru and Bloomberg.org, or Bloomberg.ca, Bloomberg News. And Corinne Neo, the senior portfolio manager at Paragon Capital Management Singapore, was quoted as saying, as central banks paused rates in late 2023 and market expectations that the Fed may cut rates as soon as Q2 2024, some issuers may want to wait to issue at lower rates. So, moving on, we have Wall Street analysts predict soon fall of the U.S. dollar. So Dick Bove, which is a 54-year Wall Street veteran analyst, has made statements carrying the sentiment that the U.S. dollar is almost finished and that the USD remains on its last leg. He was quoted as saying, quote, the U.S. dollar is finished at the world's reserve currency. Again, according to Watcher Guru, and there's also an article out there in the New York Times where I don't actually, you need to have a subscription for it in order to view the full article, but the article is linked from the New York Times about his quote in there. Again, more interest in joining BRICS. 34 countries looking to join BRICS, and Saudi Arabia's supposed joining just a few days ago. Now, what is so interesting about this in Saudi Arabia is no one knows if they've actually joined. I mean, I say nobody knows. Of course, the BRICS nations in Saudi Arabia would know, but people on the outside seem to be confused because it was expected that with the UAE, Ethiopia, Egypt, and all those guys joining the BRICS nations and the BRICS alliance on January 1st, 2024, it was expected that Saudi Arabia was going to join with them. In fact, they were part of the list of countries and nations that were going to join on that date. And then once it hit, everybody thought they joined. But then Saudi Arabia came out and they said, no, we're not exactly joined yet. We're still considering. Then they signed a deal. Saudi Arabia signed a deal with the U.S. And then shortly after that, the one of the trade officials, I believe it was trade officials from Saudi Arabia, said, hey, we joined BRICS officially. Let's go. We're in. It's official. Then one of the heads of state of Saudi Arabia came out again and said, no, that was a lie. We're actually not in BRICS. And so it's really confusing if they're in or not. But the reason that I include this in there, despite all the confusion, is because the effects of them potentially joining. So 34 countries are potentially looking to join since Saudi Arabia that's why I put supposed joining just a few days ago. But again, it's not really for sure. So again, and I definitely have to bolden this because that's one of the headlines. So more updates on foreign countries' trade excluding the U.S. dollar. So according to Watcher Guru again and RT.com, Russia is now settling 85% of trade in local currency. This is their attempt at bypassing the U.S. sanctions and accepting local currencies. Russia's central bank governor Elvira Nabiullina, has confirmed that the BRICS countries are increasingly settling trade with the ruble and not the U.S. dollar. It has been made clear that the U.S. sanctions on developing countries has been what's led them to create an alternative. So, as I was stating in a couple episodes ago, Marco Rubio said this, U.S. Senator from Florida, as well as anybody that is familiar with how sanctions work. If they're going away, if we're using the dollar to leverage our power in sanctions against foreign countries and they create a BRICS system to completely cut ties with the U.S. dollar, our sanctions become completely ineffective and meaningless, which is exactly what we're seeing right now. They're going to alternatives because of our sanctions, and they're saying, screw the dollar, we'll make our own system, and it's not going to be effective against us. So, moving on, BRICS is creating their own credit rating system. So, the BRICS system is creating their own credit rating firm to combat the top three in the U.S. The top three in the U.S. Credit rating agencies are the S&P 500, the Fitch Group, and Moody's. And other countries feel that the U.S. credit rating agencies only point out the negative in other countries except the U.S. and don't focus on the positives. So in their own words, they're now going to pursue their own credit rating agency to ensure fairness and to not rely on the U.S. to determine the creditworthiness of a firm. The governor of Russia's central bank again again, Elvira, I'll just say her first name, has stated that one of the key initiatives for BRICS will be this system. She stated that it will be supranational and cover all countries while being faster and more practical. Not only this, but BRICS leaders are also discussing a new internet service completely devoid of all connection to the US data and servers. So again, I pointed out in episode 1 about the BRICS system when it comes to the BRICS report number 1, about the maritime networks and the satellite networks that they are trying to establish with the BRICS. So that is basically another confirmation. Yes, they are trying to, again, according to Watcher Guru, the Daily Sun, and the Assam Tribune when it comes to all of those, the BRICS credit rating and the new internet. More countries to join to ditch the US dollar. So again, 20 nations have adopted the Russian payment system to ditch the US dollar. This system has already reached over 159 foreign participants. Governor of Russia's central bank, same one, Elvira, was quoted as saying, quote, Russia has a system for transmitting financial messages, the SPFS, which is alternative to SWIFT. Similar infrastructures exist in some other countries, and we're holding discussions on the interaction of such platforms, but here the interest and technical readiness of our partners are important. So, with that being said, we were talking about how the SWIFT system is what everything was on for the longest time, but then recently Iran and Russia eliminated the SWIFT payment system between them, and they're going direct through local banks for their payment settlements instead of through the SWIFT networks. So again, this is just more confirmation. The US dollar is slowly but steadily being taken out of the world stage, as well as local currencies in the BRICS bloc is growing dramatically. So with that being said, guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Peace out.